Welcome everybody. It's up to you. We're well spaced, it's well ventilated. If you wish to move your face mask, I'm happy to do so. Simply, if you'd rather keep it on, we totally understand as well. Welcome everybody, and to those at home as well. Welcome to an extraordinary introductory meeting for our new foundation stage parents. Welcome back as well to quite a lot of you. It's a renewal of another 7-year partnership with us. I'm sorry it's been delayed, it's been confusion and change and all the rest of it, but we are here, we've made it, and then England go and get to the semi-finals as well. Can you just believe it? Normally we would do this in May, but I'm glad we delayed because it's so important for us to see you and hopefully for you to see us as well. You've met Richard here, who is leading the foundation stage. We've got Laura there and Sophie, who are the 3 teachers who will be there. We would normally have had the teaching assistants here tonight, but I've tried to keep numbers down. Julie Hager is the assistant head overall responsibility for Key Stage 1 and Foundation Stage. She's on the residential visit with Year 6. Yes, we managed to get them off on a 4-day trip and they're having a fabulous time. Key Stage lead is Jonathan, who you saw at the door. He's here as well, so thank you very much for coming. And if you don't know me, as I say, I'm Michael Longstaff, I'm the head teacher of this school. It is a 7-year partnership, and you'll be amazed how quickly it goes by. Some of you know that already, and there will be that final assembly with tears and tissues at the door as they all move on to that next phase. But it is us working together, and I hope the one thing you will get from tonight is that it is a true partnership. We want to work with you. It's education is not just what happens at school. You've been doing it for the last 4 to 5 years. Together, we want to do our best. That photograph there is the last day. The children are coming out with a briefcase of things they've collected over their 7 years, which they might share with their children or grandchildren, who knows, in years and years to come. You probably realise that we do quite a bit of communicating. I think we've lost track of how many emails Mr. Atkinson and Ms. Hager sent. Not to mention letters from me, but you will get emails, you'll get letters, you'll get text alerts. We do everything we possibly can to make sure you don't miss any key information. The website, I'm sure you've already looked at the website and seen what's going on. And those slides that you've been watching are from blogs, which are updated often more than once a day. They give a real flavour of what school is like. And it's probably quite different to the times when you were at school, and certainly when I was at school. There's always the monthly newsletter, which is quite a heavy thing, which comes landing on your in tray, but it gives you, again, all the information you need as to what's going on, not only for your children, but also for the other children in the school, so you get a full flavour of what being a mole is, because that's what your children become. They become more moles. And it becomes quite a bond to have that sort of symbol for them. There'll be targeted newsletters for you, hopefully consultation evenings as well. There'll be a reopening. This is actually the very first public meeting we've had for 18 months. It's quite a moment for us, as I tell you. And as we've just sent out this week, the annual reports will also come out, and they start right from the foundation stage as well. Now, I would also normally have the chair of the Friends Association here tonight, but again, as I say, I wanted to keep the numbers down. But they are a fantastic organisation. They do so much to enhance the education facilities for your children. And not only that, of course, the social aspect of life for the children, and indeed yourselves. There's Becky there, she's the chair, and they've run lots of different events over the year. And a remarkable fact, during lockdown, they've kept going. I've been very creative in how they've organised different events for raising money for the school. These are some of the things that they've bought for us. 85 iPads there, look at that. Fantastic adventure playground. They invested 7,000 in reading books. They had the playground painted for us. Wonderful fitted kitchen, where all the children learned to do cookery, including the foundation stage as well. We weren't quite doing the Sunday lunch just yet, but hang on. We introduced Maths Mastery, which is a fantastic, revolutionary scheme, program for teaching maths, and so that we can get that off the ground. They invested in the materials for us. These curtains around the hall here, so we can create a theatre, a conference room. The Tony Knight Centre, which is another learning area where we can do small group work. Because hopefully soon, after we've got all children started, hopefully by the half term, I might be able to get you in and give you all a proper tour, and you'll see that we use every square inch that we've got. They bought an iPad for another iPad for year 3, 4 pupils, so everybody in Key Stage 2 has their own iPad. They've even got a new carpet in your room. Outdoor table tennis tables. All this wonderful new lighting that we have in the hall to meet the new requirements regarding energy usage. And recently, every room has a 65-inch HD screen, which the team link up with their computers and their iPads, and they can teach from anywhere in the room, and the children's work can be shown immediately. It's revolutionary. We've got a fantastic multi-use games area. Kids get out with goal posts and basketball posts as well. And the secret of all that is all of you. I mean, it's a great team to organise it, but the fact that parents support these things, and I hope that you would feel you might like to be on the committee, you might like to be able to help at certain events. I'm sure you'll want to support, because that really does make a huge difference to what we can offer for the children. And we may get back to having our special band night. We had the musical couch here in 2017, and it's a really good night for parents to come and socialise together. So we also obviously have lots of things I have to share with you. Part of it is to reassure you. The number one priority, of course, is the safety of your children. That is always number one. That comes above everything else. And so the way the school is secure, the site is secure, we have risk assessments for everything. That's we control all the substances that are in schools, so they're all secure. We have policies for everything you can imagine, and they're all on the website if you want to look at them. And of course, the important thing is teaching children the safety, whether it's cycling or scooting, whether it's through health education, citizenship. E-safety, of course, becomes a big issue these days as well. And so that is always our number one priority. Now, medicines and medical needs. If a child has a long-standing medical need, we can do whatever is required to meet that. Okay, you never have to worry about that. However, if a child is just on a course of antibiotics, it's much better if we don't have to be involved, because any medicine that we are involved in giving to a child, that means there's a heck of a lot of paperwork to be done and people have to be assigned to it. GPs these days will give you a course which will be given 3 times a day, morning, on arrival home from school, and at bedtime. But if there is something which is really essential and you can't be missed, we will meet that need for you. The other thing, of course, is asthma. If children have an asthma inhaler, if it's something that they're likely to need regularly, we ask them to wear it. So they've got it with them all the time, not in a book bag somewhere. So if you're on the far end of the field and having an asthma attack, you don't want to have to be rushed back into the classroom to try and find the inhaler. Otherwise, we keep them in a central place for the same thing. Now, uniform. Now then, this will be available at the party nights. That's right, isn't it? Yeah, coming up shortly. And it's based upon, are you going to be I'm not going to wear it, it's very small. We do actually have it out the sizes there. So, first of all, this is a school jumper. And with that, okay, which also comes as a cardigan. That's a cardigan there in the back. And then we have the polo shirts. By the way, jumper and the cardigan is the only branded item we say you please do buy that. Polo shirts, if you'd rather just buy a plain one, that's absolutely fine, but these are branded with our bow. It's called Crofty, by the way, Crofty the bow. And people often wonder, which colour should we buy? It's your choice. You can choose. Some like to have the yellow, the green, or the white. Some wash better than others. Yes, beware. Okay. I think actually the green is probably the most popular, actually, isn't it? Yes, but there's a nice a bit of individuality there, a bit of choice. For PE, it's just a plain black top and a black shorts again. We supply them, but you can get them from anywhere you like, don't worry about that. And the reason why we have black is because if they're doing dance in the hall or gymnastics, it's so much more impressive when you just got that black outfit. You can really appreciate the work they're doing, rather than having Man United or Liverpool or Leeds leaping about the hall. But for outdoor PE, they can wear whatever they like. And that is the bag for keeping the PE kids safe inside. Now, very good. Now then, and that's ideal, particularly when they're younger. When they get older, they often need to have a bigger bag and all the rest of it. That's ideal for the youngsters. And we don't insist at first about a second pair of shoes, do we? For
no. By the time that we will need you to have sports shoes, your children will have grown out of the ones that you put in September. We'll be in touch with you when we need them. Most of our PE happens in the hall until the summer months.
Yeah. This is uber important. This is the book bag. Most in communication with you will go via email, but sometimes we do send things in a hard copy. Their reading book will always come in there as well. And as they get older, other things, recorders, music, and all the rest of it. That is an essential piece of kit. Okay,
like the recorder.
Oh yes, more about that later. And finally, we have the water bottle, which we give everybody a free one every year, and so the children will be getting that. When are we going to give them that?
Next week.
Next week. Yeah. Okay. So they can arrive on that first day with their biodegradable, reusable water bottle. Older ones who have the name on it, but we recommend you perhaps put a sticker on it that they recognise. Okay. So they've got access to water all through the day, and ideally it's water. But if you want to put a sugar-free juice in, that's also absolutely
irreplaceable.
And the Tonso as well. I think they're about 20p for a fresh top. Okay. The buying things to say next week, Jenny and Diane will be here from the office just to help you with all of that. Jewellery, the children shouldn't be wearing jewellery. If children have pierced ears, it must be no rings or anything dangling. Okay, and similarly, if they have a necklace or whatever, that must be under the uniform so it can't catch. I think I've covered that. Excellent. By the way, if there are any questions at the end, you will be able to ask, so don't worry. And also, if you haven't had a chance to go into the classrooms yet, there might be one or two who haven't had that chance, again at the end, you can do that. Okay, I'm rattling through for you football fans, okay. There's certain things I just have to tell you, you have to know. Special educational needs. Things have changed a long time since I was at school, and probably even since you were. I mean, when I first started teaching, you weren't even allowed to identify a special need until children were 7, and the word dyslexia was completely banned from use almost. Thankfully, those things have changed. We're constantly, all of us are looking out for any need. And basically, every child has a special need. We're all different, we're all unique. And so if we find there's actually a need and we need to offer some sexual support, don't panic. That's a good thing. Because every child who has identified with a special need of any sort, the aim is that they are absolutely secure in their learning at the end of every year and when they leave. It's just that we make sure we put the interventions in place to help them. So it's not like it used to be. Talented children we also identify as well in all sorts of ways. And I always tell my little story here about a girl I saw in year 1. She was doing dance, and it was amazing. And I thought, my goodness me, she must go to dance classes. There was something special, something unique about her. Anyway, she didn't go to a dance class. But I rang the parents and said, look, I think she's got a talent here. The parents hadn't particularly realised, and maybe she was 6. Anyway, now she's a professional dancer in London, and she did go and join dance classes. So little things that just noticing something can spark something that changes a child's life. School day, Mr. Axe is shortly going to explain what a foundation stage day looks like. Those who've already got children here know for the last 18 months it's been very unusual. We've had staggered times for dropping off and picking up, staggered lunch times, staggered breaks. It's been very odd. And then yesterday we got the news that things are more or less heading in a normal direction for September. So I'm not changing anything before the summer holiday, but I will be writing to all the parents before we break up for summer to clarify and confirm exactly the timings of the day before we finish, so you will know that. But it would appear that we are heading back to something that looks more like normality. We have a very efficient start to the day because that's when everyone's fresh and ready. When I was at primary school, the whistle went and we all lined up. And then we all marched in, we all sat down. Then the register was taken. Then we all lined up and we went to the hall for assembly. And then we all lined up and we left the hall from assembly. And by 20 to 10, nobody had done anything. Here, in normal times, and I'm hopeful, there's a 10-minute window for the children to get into school, and at 10 to 9, school starts. The foundation stage is straight to phonics. I won't give any more of your secrets away. And then all through school, I know at 10 to 9, the whole school is working. There obviously is a break in the middle of the morning, and then in the afternoon we have our assembly. At the end of the day, there's a celebration of what we've done, what we've achieved, and how we're moving forward. And it's about making the most efficient use of time, because every second is important for the children. The lunchtime, at the moment, the foundation are still eating in here. This becomes our dining room. Again, in normal times, we have lighting, we have music, we have candles on the table, electric ones. It's all very romantic. It's our restaurant, and the buffet's there with the salad. There's the hot trolley, and the children, again, when we're back to normal, they can serve themselves, or the youngest ones, the staff. Then the team actually serve their own children. We also have a full salad bar with wraps. We also have a jacket potato option as well. They can choose the various fillings. And if they want seconds in their veg or salad, they can do. Over there is the pudding counter. So you go to that after you've had your first course, because you don't want your custard congealing while you're working your way through your roast chicken. And so it's a well-oiled machine. And also, after the first week, you can come as well. Hopefully, if things are back to normal, as soon as possible, you can have a dinner. You can book a dinner and come and share it with the children. So not the first week, because seeing mum or dad in the middle of the day on the first week can lead to tears. That's a shock that they're going to go home with you. Okay, so we don't recommend the first one. Get used to us first. And the food, of course, for Foundation Year 1 and Year 2 is free. It's paid for by the government. If you wish to come and join us for lunch, it's $3.50. So lots we've had a guest for dinner. We also have lots of specials as well. If it's the Italian National Day, we'll have an Italian buffet. And there'll be music from Italy and slides and all the rest of it. We used to celebrate the King of Thailand's birthday with the Thai curry. Sadly, he died. So the new one, we don't know when his birthday is. Anyway, I mentioned water bottles. Don't send things from home. There might be a special occasion. Maybe they're going to have a teddy bear's picnic, and we'll say, bring Teddy with you. That's fine. But don't send little toy cars or things, because if they lose them, that's when they get upset. Don't even bring rubbers or pencils. It's amazing if someone loses their favourite pencil. They brought from home, it can cause upset. So we'll provide everything they need. Definitely no sweets. They get free fruit every day, again, provided by the government. And as they get older, we have a fruit shop selling fruit or milkshakes, or fruit kebabs, depending on the season, or soup in the winter, which the children can buy. This seems weird, because I'm talking about life as it was 18 months ago, and I'm just remembering now myself what it was like. It's been so weird, it really has. But the great thing has been, throughout all of this, the morale of the children and the staff has been maintained throughout. And I believe, I hope you'll feel it, There's a real community here from this school and the people around us, and together we have actually there's been a lot of positivity as well as the stress. Now you might think, oh, I'd like to help this place, and people do. They come in and help, and again, we're allowed to, but we're getting there, I think, in all sorts of ways. A few suggestions there. And by the way, everything I'm saying is all in that prospectus, by the way, so don't feel you've got to remember it all. For some of you, you think, well, actually, I would love to, but I can only do a little bit here, a little bit there. That's absolutely fine. That's Commander Walker there, and he comes in from time to time to talk about his work with the Royal Navy. For other people, you were thinking, that is the last thing on earth I'd want to do, is go back into school. The day I left was the last day I was going, and that's fine as well, all right? So don't feel guilty, that's not your particular thing. Now, a couple things I need to tell you about charges and remissions. Basically, we do take children out on visits. We're back doing that at the moment, which is great. And there is a charge for that. It is actually a voluntary contribution. And if you are entitled to income support or whatever, then we totally understand. But I do plead that people do try to contribute towards the visits, because our budgets are not massive, and if we had to pay for them all, we wouldn't be able to afford it. And they are an asset to their education. The children from Year 5 went to the Yorkshire Sculpture Park last week, and the wonderful artwork that they do while they're there and when they return is amazing. Year 4 had a Viking experience at Merton Park near York, and they get dressed up. They make their lunch. They make a clay cup, so they can have a drink at lunchtime. They till the earth. They meet the Lord and Lady. They're given a house to look after, and they are told how to defend the encampment. And then in the afternoon, a bunch of actors attack, and there's pandemonium. They said, no, you've been shown how to see them off, God, get your positions. And they come back and they've had the best experience, far more than you could ever get on just looking at a book. So they are assets, and they are relevant to their education, and they boost that. Foundation, having said that, will have a training trip, which is all about how to go on a visit. You know, how we go 2 by 2 crocodile walking. We take our lunch, we take our water bottle, and we get how to behave in a bus and all the rest of it. That sets them up, so that when we get to Year 6, we take them away. And as I say, our Year 6 are currently in Derbyshire, having a wonderful residential visit, which is a great rite of passage for them all. And it was one of my happiest days when we actually got them all on the 2 coaches yesterday, and they set off. We've tried so hard to make sure we can do it, and it's so good, and the children are just so happy that they can go. Music, oh yes, here comes recorder. Don't worry, it doesn't happen yet. But when we get to Year 3, every child learns to play the recorder. And it's one of those moments you'll never forget, because we try to initially teach them the note B first of all, which is 1 finger and 1 thumb, okay? And you have to gently, and we practice with the recorder on your chin, so there's no noise. And when you're convinced that everyone's got how to, we go for it. Of course, the recorder goes in the mouth, and we go. And it's a blast of noise, and you can hear them going down the street with it as well. But the reason why, from Year 3, they all learn to play the recorder, is that we want them to read music. It's another window to open for them. And because of that, a lot of children choose to take up orchestral instruments. About 95 currently are learning violin, cello, percussion, horn, trumpet, flute, clarinet, trombone, bassoon, even had a double bass. And they form an orchestra which fills all of this space in front of the baptism hall here. And in normal times, every Friday, they have their orchestral lessons together. They play for the final assembly. Every Friday, they play the hymn. At the moment, we're running 3 separate orchestras. But music is one of the joys of the school, and it's something very special to look forward to. And if your children like to take part in those things, they become available, as I say, a little bit later on. And also we offer a lot of extended school clubs as well, lots of different sports clubs. And if they're run by our staff, they are free. But we do sometimes hire coaches in from Tigers Trust, badminton, tennis and gymnastics coaches. So there is a small charge for those. Obviously, the older the children are, the more that is available to them. But there are still clubs that are available for the foundation stage as well. There they are, in fact. Because if you gently touch it. In fact, at Christmas, when we get to Key Stage 2, we take the whole of Key Stage 2 to Beverley Minster, and we have a festival Christmas there. And it begins, it's in sections. We have like choirs of the Minster. We have a special mini musical at the end, and we have recorders at the Minster, and that's when they really sound marvellous. Something about the acoustics in the Minster. It doesn't matter what note they play, it sounds wonderful. So. Okay. Oh, Mr. Atkinson, it's you. Okay, so I'm going to give you the clicker. Yes, I'm just going to get a glass of water. I feel I'm losing voice. I've not spoken. I'm also going to turn that down a bit. So
yes, go back. No problem. Right. Okay. So, what to expect when your children arrive? Now, I'm going through this process with you again with my second child, with my youngest daughter. She is starting school in September, and let me pre-warn you. It's devastating. When you drop them off, you will be heartbroken. I drove to school with my eldest. I couldn't see for crying. You will be devastated as you walk down the street, but I guarantee your children will not miss you one jot. They will be having such a fun time. Now, we call this a job, but it's not really a job what we do. It's a lot more than that. And it's the end of a 5-year journey for you. So your 5-year journey started in that delivery room, okay? When your child was born, when your health visitor gave you that little red book, that was the start of this process. And we finish it off in reception class. So this is the end of the foundation stage, the end of that birth to 5 transition. There it is. Have you all got that little red book still? It's in a drawer somewhere, Gavin, doesn't it? But it's got vaccination information, all sorts of things in there. And he talks about these things. So developmental milestones. So what is typical of a child of 3? What is typical of a child of 4? What is typical of a child of 5? And that's basically what our curriculum is all about. It's about the whole child. We do teach English and mathematics and science and history and all of those things. But more importantly, it's about building little people. So their personal, social, emotional development, the communication, the interactions with other children is vitally important. And it all starts with this. I love this quote. Because often what people get confused with is that play is not learning. And play is actually the most serious learning that we can do. And when we forget how to play, that's when learning stops. Okay, so the foundation stage is a play-based curriculum. And we encourage the children, we provide them with skills. And the idea is that we then observe and watch and coach and mentor them through exercising those skills in a variety of different areas. Okay, so here we go. Here are some pictures of some of the children working and playing. Physical development, construction, literacy with some Lego. And this is where you'll drop them off, okay? Some of you may have exited this door or had a look just this evening. And we start the day in the right way. So we start the day with a song. I do apologize in advance. Father Christmas gets very good at making guitars, all right? He does. And so we sing every single day. We sing a bit of Status Quo, a bit of the Beatles, some nursery rhymes and things like that, but we always start with a sing. It's a really great way to start the day. Okay, we register with Mrs. Pulteney. The children do all this by themselves. Okay, and this is what I mean. You'll be walking down the street by this point, crying. You think, oh my goodness, my daughter, my son are going to school for the first time. They'll be fine. They're just going to trot in and get on with life. Mrs. Pulteney, she helps us select our dinner choice. Okay, whether we're having a hot dinner, a wrap, which is flatbread with cheeses and cooked meats and salad, or a jacket potato, and hopefully we can get back to that soon, Mr. Lancaster, because I think all the staff are missing the jacket potatoes as well. And then there we go. We sing. We sing. Which apparently COVID likes singing. We've not been allowed to do it for a while, but we still do. So singing is the best way to start the day. It really sets us off, settles us down, calms us down, and takes our mind off those things that we were doing before we came to school. And that's at 10 to 9, by the way. So that's how we start. At 5 to 9, when we finish doing that, we split into phonics groups. Okay, and this is extremely fluid throughout the year. Sometimes there might be 2 very large groups. Sometimes there might be 5 very small groups. And the children move through the phonics phases at their own pace. Okay, and our groupings and our teachers and our teaching assistants react to those needs. So it might be that they need some more help with reading. They might need some more help with handwriting or forming the graphemes. And I'll teach you all about phonics as well, don't worry. I'll invite you into school in October and I'll show you all about how this works. But that's how that works, okay? And that will happen very frequently. It's nothing to worry about. Role play, we all love role play. Mums and dads and dogs, that's what they usually play. There's always a dog. I have no idea, there's always a dog. Always. Yeah, always a dog. And everybody wants to be the dog. But these are some of the things that we've done. We've been on safari. We've been to Princess Castles. Where have we been this year, Miss Hager?
We've been at Post Office at Christmas, to
Post
the
Office, yeah.
the vets.
The vets, that's
yeah. And where else have we been? We've been to the police station.
Went to the police station.
We've been to we're at Free Bears.
Yes,
Yeah.
we are. Yes, we are. So role play, it's a really great way to encourage children to tell and make stories. We love a bit of role play. There's more. That was a beach. Remember that one? It's a few years ago. Now, you've walked through the classroom. You've seen that it's very, very large. We've got 4 spaces, 2 indoor classrooms, 2 outdoor classrooms, and the children flow between those 4 spaces independently. Okay, so we are a class of 60. 2 teachers, 3 teaching assistants, 3 teachers, 3 teaching assistants. And the children flow through that all the time. There is always a teacher teaching in every space. There's always a teacher teaching upstairs. There's always a teacher teaching downstairs. There's always a teacher teaching outside. Okay, just because it's play-based doesn't mean that really important transfer of skill doesn't happen. Okay, so maths is super important. There are some of our math magicians at work. Model making. Oh, bit of recyclable materials. Yeah, we will ask you to give us the contents of your blue bin, and then we'll make it into something amazing. Send it back. It's fantastic. Yeah, and you can make shelves in your garage or your living room to display these wonderful models as well, forever.
Special place.
Well, they could do.
They could do.
And you could recycle them back to us as well. That's fine. That's amazing. They love that. They love that. We also love being outside, and outside is a really rich place where children learn, develop, and grow. Okay, and you've seen that our provision for outside is very large, and we do spend a lot of time outside in all weathers. You may have noticed some all-in-one weather suits with our welly boots. So we do suit and boots when we go out in the rain. So whilst you're shopping in the summer holidays for uniform and things like that, do consider waterproof jackets. I know in the winter time we get those very fluffy, warm jackets, but they just absorb water like a sponge and make us very wet and cold. For more outside, we have a climbing wall. So, Some things to remember. Your children will get messy. That's allowed. That's okay. Messy children are happy children. And that's how you know that they've been having a good time and they've learned lots, if they are messy. Be careful with your choice of polo shirts. White is horrendous for getting book out of. It really is. Now, the other thing that I've put there is we are going to see the very best of your children. You will see the very worst of them. By the time they get home, they will be exhausted, tired, grumpy. They're not going to want to talk to you. They're going to be horrible. And I can't apologize for that, because, you're just going to have to deal with it. All right, sorry. They will be. And the last point there, and this is really vitally important, and I can't say this enough, make sure you write their name in everything. In everything. You won't believe how many pants get taken off when we go to do PE. Right? It just happens. Right? And if you've got your name in it, we can locate the pants and put them back with the right person. Socks, I kid you not, and shoes. Right? If you end up at Clark's to buy your school shoes, boys will tend to go for the dinosaur shoes. And we'll have maybe 28 boys wearing the same pair of dinosaur shoes. They're all the same size. It's happened in the past, so names everywhere. If you go online, you can usually find some companies that will sell you little sticky labels that are washproof, and you can put them in or stitch them in or iron them in or whatever. Biro washes out, as does Sharpie actually, eventually. Everything, name it all. Most importantly, school is supposed to be a lot of fun, and we have a great time, all of us. In the foundation stage, have a wonderful time with you. And that's all I've got to say about that. Merci. Thank you.
Okay, now then, again, a few things that I'm obliged to fill you in on. First of all, is sex education, we really should say relationships and health sex education. That is something which is now mandatory, and I have to inform you that we cover this. Obviously, the bit which you will be thinking of in terms of sex education, in terms of when we were at school, that happens in year 6, and the puberty talk happens in year 5, and we write to you beforehand so you know it's going to happen. But all through their career, we're talking to children about their positive relationships with their friends and their own personal safety. And that starts right from the beginning. The road safety, again, is something that we have already mentioned in terms of cycling and the scooting, and also the children shown how they have to cross the road properly as well. Religious education is something we have to do, but you are allowed to withdraw your child from army. Nobody ever has, and I'm pleased about that, because it's not about religious indoctrination, it's just about finding out about different faiths. And the way we do it here is the whole school, we do Christianity every year and one other faith, but the whole school does the same one. So we have a shared understanding, and if you've got more than one child, they're having similar experiences and similar talks, and you can share those talks at home. And if at the moment it's secret this year. So what happens is, therefore, that by the end of the year, they have a real understanding of what that faith is about. Whereas if you're chopping and changing, you find that they get confused. So that's the way we've been doing it. Assembly and the daily act of worship, that is a legal requirement in this country, that there is a daily act of worship. This is not a church school, but we have an assembly every day. And right through the COVID period, we have filmed an assembly every week, which the whole school sits down to watch on a Friday. And that is so important because it's about the family being together. And we have fun together. We're sometimes sad together. And it's an important part of the children's education that they know that there are times we come together and we come in silence and we're ready for something. But it is so much part of what we do. And children are not forced to join in with the singing if they don't wish to. They don't have to join in the prayer. In fact, I say to them, if you have a wish, a desire, or a prayer you'd like to share with me, you may like to put your hands together. You may like to look at the candle. You may like to join in an amen at the end, but nobody's pressured. But it's so important that family comes together. And there have been times which we've had to explain things to children about what's going on out there. At least alone the day I was in here, explained to them that the school was closing. That was an emotional day for us all. But actually, although I have to admit I shed a couple of tears at that moment, the children, just because they are what they are together, and can I just say, you send us the most wonderful children. It's an absolute privilege to work with your kids, it really is. And they just raised the roof. We were singing Make Your Own Kind of Music, the Paloma Faith version. And it was just amazing, And then, some of you may know, we lost one of our dear colleagues 2 days before we started this school year. And having to communicate that to children is hard, but when they're used to getting that support for each other. So whereas some heads may say that seminars aren't really necessary, I think they're essential if you're going to create that community. When it comes to the end of your time with us and they've had their 6 years, you come and join us for the final assembly. And that's always quite a moving event. Right, breakfast club and tea club. I know we've been communicating this to you already. You've had a link to Mrs. Wilson, so I think you know about what the offer is there. And we have expanded provision so that we can meet a growing demand and need as well. It might not be every day, but although it may be breakfast club, we're probably going to have a satellite foundation stage breakfast club so that we can accommodate the numbers. And at the moment, since we've been through COVID, our afternoon tea club has been running in separate bubbles, and that's worked rather well. It meant we could really expand provision as well, and therefore that will continue. So if you're wanting that provision, please do ask. It says we don't recommend in week one. I'm not. If you need your child to start at breakfast or tea club that first week, I'm not going to say no to you. You know your children, you know what they're used to, but obviously it's quite a big day, that first week, being at big school, as we said earlier, and if they're here for all that time, say from 8 in the morning to 5:15, that's a long, long day. But some of your children aren't used to that, so I just throw it out there. Now the nitty-gritty stuff now. Every 3 years we review our rules in school, and they're reviewed with the children and the staff. And we have just three rules in the school, and then nothing else, just the three. We speak the whole truth, and we never hurt or play fight. And the reason why we don't play fight is because sometimes a play fight can become a real fight because someone's accidentally hurt somebody. We respect life, caring for everything and everyone's right to learn. It's zero tolerance. Children will never be allowed to stop other children from learning. But every child who has needs and help in their behaviour will get all the support that they need. And we listen to others and do as I'm asked by the adults I can trust. 3 simple rules. And they have been checked over many, many years to see, and they cover everything that could possibly go wrong. We also have rights. These are what we have adopted as the rights for your children. To work and learn, to play and have fun, to be included, to speak and be listened to have their own opinions and thoughts, be kept happy and safe, and to always have the right to be the person that they are, because we care. And to reward the children, we give them marks. You might think, well, okay. And it's all done on trust. If they do something kind or helpful or do some nice work, maybe look after somebody, we'll say, oh, that's wonderful. Put a marble in the jar. And when the jar is filled, it's equivalent to 15 minutes treat. Often the young ones like to go on the adventure playground because that's normally reserved for the older children. A lot of the children choose to save their marble jars up for a mega treat. And this year, for the first time, actually, the foundation has chosen us as well. I know a lot of the older ones, they have saved up their jars so they can have a full festival day. It's like Glastonbury on the field. They've got tents, they've got music, they've got herb reading, they've got face painting, they've got a barbecue, and all of these things cost so many jars of marbles, and they save them up. And we never ever take marbles out of the jar. Now, you may have experienced the sticker jars. Now, if you've got sticker jars at home, absolutely fine, don't worry. Okay, but if you're in class, and I bet some of you will recognize this, look at that person there who's got 75 stones. There's this person here who's got 10. And there's that person there who's already had 5 crossed off before they even get to the starting line. Okay, it does not inspire or promote across the board as anything at all. But with the jar and the fact we never take them out, and it doesn't matter how many marbles you put in that jar or how few you put in. The thing is, we all benefit from the good work, the kindness of the people around us. And that's the message all the way through, and they get their well-deserved rewards. Now, this is the thing which always worries everybody, bullying. I say this every time. I cannot promise you that bullying will not happen. I cannot. It would be a ridiculous thing for me to say. Sadly, it is sometimes within human nature. But I can guarantee that I can stop it. Okay? I've explained our rule system, which is very, very effective. If you suspect that your child is being bullied, first of all, keep calm. Secondly, consider what bullying is. Bullying is something which is done repeatedly to somebody, which makes them feel insecure, as that feeling here, makes them feel unhappy, makes them feel worried or not wanting to come to school. It could be something very simple. It could be that someone's got a pencil on their desk, and every day that pencil's just taken away from them. Like I said, physical contact. That person who owns that pencil thinks, why is it me? Why am I being picked on? That's bullying. One fallout between friends is not bullying. But I do guarantee that you will listen to, I will work with the children, and we'll work to make sure that it doesn't happen again. And we'll keep checking on that as well. And I always say to you as parents, if you have any concern, you must come back to me about it. We all have our email addresses. You will have contact with those. And basically, the system works as the staff's first initial and the surname at morsecroftprimary.net. And parents can email me. It's mlancaster@morsecroftprimary.net. We'll always get back to you. But it is rare. It is rare, I have to say. But it can happen. So we need to work together and we can solve it. And sometimes we can give children advice as to how to avoid being in certain circumstances as well. I don't believe in the thing about natural victims or anything like that, that's rubbish. But sometimes children need that bit of advice. And also, it can depend how old a child is within a family. If you are the eldest child, okay, and your mate is the youngest in their family, your friend is used to often a higher level of banter and rough and tumble from their older siblings than this child is, although they're both the same age. And therefore, this child can sometimes be upset by something this child's done or said, whereas this child didn't mean it at all to come across like that, but I can explain to that person why it comes across like that. But often it's because of what they're used to in terms of their own family. Because obviously if you've got brothers who are 15 or 14 or whatever, it's a different experience, isn't it, to being the oldest in the family. A little warning here on parking. We have lines out there and they are monitored. They are there to protect children crossing the road. They're to protect the crossing patrol. And the parking tickets are frequently handed out from time to time. I have to say though, I think we've got probably the best parking situation of any school because the parents are so good at keeping the yellow lines clear. So we've got a clear vision for when we are children going to be picked up. We do have a crossing patrol outside our school as well, which is great to have. You think there are 420 children all coming out into Moulscroft. Also, there's a cul-de-sac just down here. One side of it actually doesn't have a yellow line, but we do ask that you don't park down there, because if you do, you'll have to do a 3-point turn when you've got all these families coming out. So please don't. And also, if you've got grandparents to be picking up for you, remind them. It's usually the grandparents who get caught rather than anything else. Here we're getting there. I hope you don't have to complain, but we're not perfect. We make mistakes, and we'll be honest and we'll be open about that. If you have any concerns, go first of all to the teacher. Send them an email. We'll always meet with you and discuss that. After that, you've got the head of the key stage, which in this case will be Mrs. Hakener, and then after that, me. After that, you've got the chair of governors, and after that, you've got Ofsted. But as I say, it is a partnership. We are open. We'll admit when we get things wrong. Sometimes we won't always agree on things, because sometimes we can't. But I promise you, we will always, always, always want to do the best for your children. And we also know that you matter as well. We want to look after you in our work. Attendance is, just to warn you, holidays aren't actually allowed in school time. They are unauthorised. And if you clock up 10 half-day absences, that will then lead to a fine, which is not laid by me, and we don't get the money, but it's £60 per child, per parent, per week. That's how it logs up, so I need to warn you that. There are some circumstances when an absence can be authorised, obviously for a funeral of a close relative. Weddings, actually, if they are specifically invited to a wedding and you've got the proof of all this, that would be allowed as well. But you couldn't sort of say take 2 weeks holiday in Tenerife to attend the wedding. It would have to be a reasonable time within that. But again, I always do say to parents, if in doubt, talk to me in advance. Sometimes I can advise you. Have you thought of that way around doing it? I'm on your side. Family life is important. I do get it. And sometimes you might just feel that as a family you need that weekend at Centre Parks. Well, if the children are registering at 1:15 and you're collecting them at 1:30, they've already got the mark, haven't they? So shouldn't we be saying that one? On your side as well. Okay. So give as much notice as possible for anything like that. But don't ask the children to lie. They can't. They tell us. Oh, it's been a lovely time. Yeah, we were in Blackpool last week. Yes. Well, actually, we knew because you told us before you went you were going to Blackpool. And then sometimes, and every day, if a child's not here, you must ring us because you might think, particularly when they get older, the child has come to school. And they haven't, and therefore we don't ring to check with you that they are ill, because we will ring you. Sometimes you can tell if it's the international dad in turn as well when you ring, and sometimes there'll be the odd poor granny who's had to cover, and then don't worry about it. Actually, one thing I forgot to say. Going back to the behaviour thing, what I didn't do was the sanctions side of things, because I said about the rewards. If a child breaks a key rule, their name is written in the red book. Okay? Now, despite whatever I say to you now will make no difference. I'm not going to say it anyway. If your child goes in the red book, you will be mortified, horrified. Couldn't possibly be the case. But it's just about growing up and learning. We're human beings, we make mistakes. Sure you do. I'll tell you I do. It's like me driving over Beverly Westwood and my foot's got a little bit heavy on that gas pedal and I've got the ticket. That's my red book. I've seen the video.
How many times?
Oh, Mr. Atkinson. I've seen it. I've watched the basketball with the gorilla. There's 2 teams, one black there's a black team in black outfit, one in white, and they're playing basketball. And this gorilla walks across the screen, and nobody notices. And then they rewind and think, how did I miss that? It's obviously about being aware when you're driving, But mistakes are made, and that's it. The children, you learn from it. And actually, although there are many, many children who will never, ever, ever go in the Red Book, I actually think perhaps a good thing. Because if you have got that Red Book, you've learned that we do make mistakes, and it's not the end of the world. We learn from it and we grow as a human. So try not to be mortified if that happens. Because children brought up exactly the same way. You've got many of you have got more than one child. You've brought up exactly the same expectations, and their behaviour at home can be completely different. You know, it's not, you didn't do anything different, it's just that's the way it is, because we're all individuals and we're all different. So don't stress with that. If you forgot that story, that would have been a disaster. I'd have had to have you all back. Anyway, you've got your packs there. They're full of information. If you're finding it difficult getting to sleep tonight, just start reading. By page 3, you'll be nodding off, I promise you. There's a lot more there. And of course, there's a load more information on the website, and we are here to answer your questions. We'd much rather answer a small question than it become a big problem. Okay, so don't be frightened about that. That's Kevin. He's our therapy dog, and he is loved. He's become a huge asset to our school. If any of you have a concern about that, there's a slip in your pack, and those transfer document forms, if possible, if you could bring them filled in next week, that would be great. So we get everything on the system, we know about any allergies, we know about any medical conditions, any other requirements, so we've got all that ready in place that first day in September. But I'd say, when we got him, there were one or two parents who said, actually, my child is actually frightened of dogs, so I'm really pleased you've got him, because that maybe will solve it. And it did, actually. Did we mention that first Wednesday when I got my glass of water, we done that? The first Wednesday? No. Right. Just to say, on that first Wednesday, when we come back after the holiday, now we know what the government's plans are. We will stagger you in on that first morning, okay? So you come in groups, okay? And the same on the Thursday. But then on the Friday, we'll all be starting at the same, hopefully, at the same time. That will be confirmed to you in a letter before the holiday. If, however, we give you a time which is really inconvenient to you because of your work commitments, we'll switch it. Don't worry, okay? It will be fine. I know Richard gave the expectation of what will happen on that morning, but don't please tell your children that you're going to come into the school with them, because you're not. Okay? It really is hand over and go. It's the best way. I know Richard was telling you about that. It really, really is. We've been doing this for years. And we'll always give you a ring. We'll even divert you into a room. We'll give you a cup of coffee if you need one. But you've just got to be brave and do it. Okay. Next to last, we have been what's called a teaching school, which means we support education right across the East Riding. This school is filled with specialists. I have the most wonderful team of people. It's a joy to work with, and their expertise. With Richard here, he's very modest, but he's a maths specialist teacher. And he's been leading developments all over the county. And many of my team do that in modern languages, in science, in English, you name it. And we also train teachers as well. And we grow our own teachers who just know what the school's about. And all 4 of them are homegrown. All of them. Sophie, Jonathan, Richard, Laura, all grown here. We sow our own seeds, and that's how our family grows. So it is a positive thing. We're now being called an educational alliance because the government decided to create super hubs. But our work will continue in being innovative and supporting schools and developing the next generation. And our curriculum will always, I promise you, as you saw when you came in, be broad and balanced. Yes, English and maths are your children's birthright. They need those skills. But we're talking about human beings. We want to have a wonderful sports curriculum. The arts, whether it's music or dance or it's visual arts, these are the soul of humanity, and they will always be promoted. And if you saw those slides at the beginning when we came in, reflecting the variety, the joy, the excitement of what a primary school is all about. I always wanted to have a school where I would want to come. And someone actually said that to me the other week, who was a visitor, said, well, I wish I could have come here. And I said, that's the nicest thing you could have ever said to me. And so we have a pledge. And this is the final thing. I pledge to you tonight. We aim to sustain and continuously develop a community based on positive attitudes, a promotion of excellence and a celebration of achievement. A valued environment in which is free everywhere. Everybody cares, everybody learns, and everybody matters. And that includes you. And together, yeah, we make a difference. So thank you very much indeed. You'll be able to get home in time for football. We're going to filter you out, don't all rush for the door. If you haven't seen the room and you'd like to, we're happy to let you do so. If you've got any particular questions you want to ask of any of us, we'll stay back. But thank you very much indeed. Good night. Bye-bye, home.
If there's anybody who had a blue sticker, I don't think you've come around the classroom yet, so if you'd like to follow me right now, I'll take you right out.